Happy Solstice Eve. Here we are, December 20th. Really, it's the 19th, but don't tell anybody. So today, to start our service, we are going to light the chalice with actually a hymn, which is in our hymnal. It's titled, "This Land of Bursting Sunrise." And as I get my chalice lit, just one moment. So we have these beautiful words, and this, like I said, is written by John Haynes Holmes, who is actually was a minister, and he went through some voice issues, but eventually he was able to get back to the pulpit. But these are his words. This land of bursting sunrise, all lavender and blue, its cloud-strewn light swept days, skies flow, and every day renew. To east the glow of dawning, to west the blaze of night, round all the long horizon's rim, the everlasting light. This land of open vistas, life-rooted deep and free, thy canyon plains, thy mountains vast, plumb earth's immensity. Here in life's fragile balance, the sun and stars above, find hand in hand and heart to heart the everlasting love. This land of bursting sunrise. Okay, our opening words today, the moment of magic. Now is the moment of magic, when the whole round earth turns again toward the sun, and here's a blessing. The days will be longer and brighter now. Even before the winter settles in to chill us, now is the moment of magic. When people beaten down and broken with nothing left but misery and candles and their own clear voices kindle tiny lights and whisper secret music. And here's a blessing. The dark universe is suddenly illuminated by the lights of the menorah, suddenly ablaze by the lights of the Kanara. And the whole world is glad and loud with the winter singing. Now is the moment of magic, when an eastern star beckons the ignorant toward an unknown goal. And here's a blessing. They find nothing in the end but an ordinary baby, born at midnight, born in poverty, and the baby's cries, like bells ringing, makes people wonder as they wander through their lives what human love might really look like, sound like, feel like. Now is the moment of magic, and here's a blessing. We already possess all the gifts we need, and we have already received our presents: ears to hear music, eyes to behold lights, hands to build true peace on earth, and to hold each other tight with love. And that's by Victoria Safford. Please join us in our opening hymn, number 72, Has Summer Come Now Dawning? Has It is now time to recite our reading of the covenant. We come together as a religious community upholding freedom of conscience, right relationship, and the inherent worth of all people. We value our diversity and pledge to care for one another in the spirit of compassion, to speak and listen to each other with respect, and to promote justice and kindness in the world. At this time, we like to do our calling candles, so I am going to light a few candles. And I just want to remind everyone, you're more than welcome to send us your thoughts or any messages that you would like for us to say out loud for you, or at least hold in our hearts and light a candle. I light this candle, these candles. I like to say past, present, future. I don't know where I got that from. Maybe, I don't know, Charles Dickens, something. But I light that for my dog, for all the people who in their hearts are working through whatever it is they need to work through. For those of you who are joyous, I hope the children this year are feeling the excitement coming on for whatever holiday is that you celebrate. So these candles represent all the joys, sorrows, goodness, whatever it is. So, moving on, we have a lovely story for all ages. And this is our first time integrating our lovely Sunday school participants and their families into our service. So, if all goes well, you're going to enjoy a little winter candle by Jaron Ashford, told by the lovely people of the First Unitarian Church in New Bedford. Enjoy. Nana Clover checked her list. Turkey in the oven, potatoes peeled, napkins folded just so. How could she have forgotten Thanksgiving at 3C Juniper Court without candles? Unheard of! Down she padded 3 flights to the super. Candles, Nana C? Trev asked himself. He opened a drawer and handed her a lumpy stick of wax. Listen, it's not pretty, but it will burn. Nana Clover spread some pine cones and leaves around, and she turned on the candle, that frumpy old candle, and by the time the guests arrived, the centerpiece glowed. Apartment 2G. 2 weeks later, 2G was in an uproar. The Havdalah candle's not here, Nat yelled from the closet. In the kitchen, Ma sighed. I forgot to buy a new one. Avi's lip quivered. But the stars will be out soon. Sha. It's not the end of the world, Grandpa told the Danziger children. Avi, go ask a neighbor for a candle. Up Avi clattered and rapped on Nana Clover's door. Avi's brothers stared. This lumpy, drooping candle? That's not a Havdalah candle. It's not even braided, and it only has 1 wick. It's not pretty, asked Grandpa, but a candle is blessed by what it does, not by how it looks. It'll shine. And shine it did. As Mom raised it high, Grandpa said the blessing to end the Sabbath. Avi held his hands to the light. They'd never had a Havdalah candle that burned so bright.
Go. 4 mornings later, it was 4D's turn for disaster. It's broken, Kirstine wailed. Liv came running. 1, 2, 3, 4 candles in the St. Lucia crown, and the 5th one is snapped in 2. Our cousins will be here any minute, said Kirstine. How can I be St. Lucia with only 4 candles? Liv started to cry. No St. Lucia crown and no St. Lucia breakfast. Girls, we have plenty of time, Mom reassured them. Kirstine, go ask a neighbor for another candle. Down Kirstine dashed 2 flights to the Danzigers, or whatever. and came back with the funniest looking candle the girls had ever seen. Everyone will laugh at me, moped Christine.
Just hold it in your hand, Noah. It's fine. All right, Logan. All right, EJ, keep going.
But nobody laughed.
Get up.
Because as Kirsten carried in the teapot and St. Lucia buns, the funny-looking candle gleamed as brightly as the storm of Bethlehem.
Okay, turn around, Logan. Here. Okay.
That's it.
All right. Logan, get in.
Okay.
Say happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Apartment 5A.
Snow fell. Presents were exchanged and the new year began. In 5A, it began with calamity. James got something in her mouth. Dante hollered, and I don't think it was food. It's food. Dad scooped up the baby and stuck his finger in her mouth. A piece of wax, a bit of string. Oh no, Dante hollered. James has eaten the faith candle for the Kenora. Go see if the Ericksons have one. His sister, Monet, suggested. Down the stairs, Dante plodded and knocked on the door. You're lucky we still have one from Kirsten said. She handed him the bedraggled little candle, but Dante did not feel lucky. How could they talk about faith with that sorry thing? And it wasn't the right color. But when Dad lit the stubby candle, the flame leaped and danced, inviting the 6 other candles to do the same.
All right, we're done.
2, 1. A few days later came the biggest snowstorm of the season. Snow blanketed the front steps and made drifts on the windowsills. Then just after nightfall, the electricity went out and flashlight beams flickered in a few windows. Apartment 5B.
Papa finding his way home. In 5B, the newest family of Juniper Court huddled together in the dark. Their clothes were still in suitcases. Their dishes were still in boxes. And Papa was somewhere in the city with a moving truck full of furniture.
How will Papa find us? The street lights are out. Papa won't find us. There's too much snow.
Of course he'll find us. Nazarene, go next door and ask the neighbors for a candle. We'll put it in the window to light Papa's way. Next door, Dante scratched his head. I think there's one left from Kwanzaa, he told Nazarene. She returned with a lump of wax that looked like a fairy tale troll. Nazarene's mother lit the candle and set it in the windowsill. How will Papa find us in such a big city? Barak asked. But as they watched, the flame shimmered and grew. It glittered on the falling snowflakes until the dark streets seemed spun with stars. Many blocks away, Papa slowly steered the big truck through the snow-covered streets. Listen to
What did that sign say? Pine Street? Vine Street?
But then Papa noticed a glow up ahead. Maybe someone there could give him directions. Papa steered left, then right, then left, closer and closer to the glowing light. Then Papa turned a corner and gasped. There in front of him, 5 stories up, shone a warm, welcoming light. He was home. Papa climbed 3 floors, 4 floors, 5 5 floors. And then
Papa's here! Papa's here!
they flew down the hall into their father's arms.
Papa, come to see our new house! And look, everybody else is coming too!
The little apartment filled with neighbors. Dante's family brought chairs and a folding table. Nana Clover made a bed of blankets for Nasreen and Farouk. Trev bought a small heater. The Erickson girls and their mother made sandwiches. And the Danzingers put a pot of soup to warm on the camping stove. Everyone welcomed Narseen and Farouk and Mama and Papa to their new home. And the gnarled little candle glowed so brightly in the window that when the electricity finally did come back on, no one even noticed. The end. The winter. Please join us for hymn number 230, Duérmete lindo niño. did my best Espanol, and that is a beautiful Mexican lullaby. That is actually done by John Donald Robb in 1892. It is now time for our little bit of a prayer meditation, so I'm going to bring you on a journey back to Bethlehem. This is written by Teresa Schwartz. In times like these, we may seek a new word, but perhaps in times like these, more than new words, we need old words. We made the journey back to Bethlehem, to the old story of a young, unwed, pregnant girl and her fiancé, Joseph, a poor young carpenter. The Roman Emperor Caesar Augustus ordered a registration. Mary and Joseph, poor and ashamed, followed the orders of the ruling elite, the 1%. They journeyed far from home. Mary went into labor and gave birth to her child on the way. There is no room for them there, no baby clothes. We sang our songs about a glorious moment in that story, but the story, like all stories, go on. After Jesus' birth, King Herod secretly calls the members of his cabinet to learn the details. He sends his wise men to do state surveillance on Camelback. The wise men find the little family, but in the midst of their government business, they are overcome with joy, and we are not sure why. Something shifted in their hearts. The wise men dream a dream not to return to the king. They leave their jobs. They leave for their own country by another road. Undocumented travelers in a foreign land. Then Joseph dreams a dangerous dream. He takes Mary and Jesus, and they flee to Egypt, penniless immigrants running for their lives. We know not the intent of those registries all those years ago, but surely it was the government intelligence that King Herod consulted when he made his killing orders. These are stories of darkness, but these are also stories of joy. There's a story for us here. Perhaps it's not real, but it's true. Myth, said the Greek statesman Solon. It's not about something that never happened. It's about something that happens over and over and over again. Maybe we left this story behind when we were little. Maybe it can be ours once more. May this old story of the Nativity, the story of poor Jews who become refugees, visited by Arab kings, undocumented travelers in a foreign land, all fleeing the empire, come alive in our hearts again. Because even in the darkness of this story, tyrants are subverted. And a whole people who are poor in money and weak in spirit remember their power, and they see beauty even in darkness, and they resist. A baby born in poverty becomes a rabbi with a message so powerful that we are still retelling it today. And it was a message that could not die even when the government condemned him to death. So we read our stories today on screens of blue flickering light, sounds of war and hate through fiber optic cable and LTE networks. But fear not, the story says, for here is the challenge and the hope. Can anything good come out of the Nazareth, of the Harlems, of the Flints, and the south sides of the world? Fear not, for it has always been so, and Christmas is always waiting to be born this year. Again, yes, sick at heart, plagued, lost as we are, let us all make that hard journey back to Bethlehem. For this story and for all stories go on. Spirit of life, be with us now, but be nearer to us still when the holiday is over. When we look to the days to come, like the wise men and women, in the midst of everyday business, may we be overcome with joy, even when we are not sure why. May something shift in our hearts. And like the wise people, even if we don't yet know the way home, grant us the courage to take that other road. Blessed be. Please join us now for my service. Hymn on the piano, Response by Randy. Thank you. Thank you, Randy. It is now time for our little solstice service. I have some fun things in store. So first, our faith reminds us that the winter holidays are a time for beauty, peace, and stillness. And our culture has turned it into a time of commercialism, debt, and stress. It takes an effort to step away from the media messages that buying things and busily planning events will make us happy. So what's one of the ways our faith guides us into becoming a people of stillness? Step away from the busyness. Yep, that's right. Here's a drill. Nice and noisy. There are plugs on toasters and vacuum cleaners and all sorts of things to keep us connected. Can you think of any at home? Yeah, you're right. Your computer, your phone, those Christmas lights. Just like we like to plug in for power and unplug for safety and a rest, it's important to unplug ourselves from busyness at this season. So here's what the culture of buying and holiday business things sounds like. And here's what it sounds and feels like to practice stillness. Unplugging from busyness helps us remember the important things about these December winter holidays. The theme for the month is stillness. And by unplugging from busyness, we can notice the stillness and beauty that actually surround us. There's this really great book, and it's called Unplug the Christmas Machine. What do you suppose a Christmas machine is? Is it a bulldozer for feelings, that fence post tightener winding up your stress? Or is it that loudspeaker blaring that Christmas music? Well, the Christmas machine, it's simply a metaphor for all these things that have changed the celebration of stillness, peace, and beauty into a time of commercialism and for some stress. So I have the antidote for us as described in this book, and it's called the Christmas Pledge. And I hope by believing in the true spirit, you can commit yourself to remember those people who truly need our gifts. Express your love in more direct ways than gifts. Examine holiday activities in light of your deepest values. Be a peacemaker within your circle of family and friends, and rededicate yourself to spiritual growth. That is one way to unplug from the Christmas machine. So unplugging from the Christmas machine leads us next to, yep, you might have guessed it. When we are still, all kinds of ideas and inner voices and insights come to us. And one way to think of that during this winter holiday season is to imagine these voices as they arise out of the silence, like angels speaking. Yep. If you look for insights into the traditional Christmas birth legend of Jesus, we might even imagine ourselves as those shepherds in the still of the night tending our flocks when above us we notice that angel calling to make that important journey. So, what's one way that our faith guides us into becoming a people of stillness? It's listen to the voices of angels. Now, in that traditional story that we just sort of retold a little bit, suddenly the angel appears. It tells them about the baby. Then a whole company of angels appear and say, "Glory to God in the highest and peace to all." And the shepherds decide to journey to find that baby. And it changed their lives. Well, what about us? What sets us out on our journey, and that changes our lives? Well, you might call it our inner voice. Another way of thinking about it is called noticing angels. We don't have to believe in real angels. We can simply imagine that an angel is something which calls to us to pay attention. So often we have to be still to notice angels in our life and to pay attention when something is announcing itself. In stillness, you might hear, "Hey there, don't be afraid. It's time to pay attention to, I don't know, maybe you really want to learn that new instrument or try that new gymnastics move or yoga position. Maybe you just want stillness to be with your family during this season." So, yeah, we can gain an insight from those shepherds and angels in this story, and we can find moments of stillness during this season if we just listen. So, we cannot talk about this lovely solstice holiday without talking about our sixth UU source, which is spiritual teachings of earth-centered traditions which celebrate the sacred circle of life and instruct us to live in harmony with the rhythms of nature. And in the stillness of this winter solstice, we celebrate the returning of nature's light that brings hope. So what's one of the ways of guiding us into stillness? Rekindle hope by being still and keeping watch for the light. Have you ever made a candle flame jump? It's a science experiment. Look it up. It's on YouTube. Of course, practice safety measures and always do it with a grown-up. But the winter solstice is a time of darkness and light, of candles and the returning of light. And we use that metaphor to rekindle each other's flames. So, winter solstice, the longest night. Well, yeah, the night's the longest and the day's the shortest. But this year, we have a celestial, I think they call it a conjunction. It actually might be called a grand conjunction, Saturn and Jupiter. They look close, but they're many millions miles away from each other. So be sure to check the sky out for that lovely solstice light. And that returning of the light rekindles our sense of hope. So imagine a time before electric lights, when the flickering of candles sent an air of mystery and beauty to the night. Well, we want that for all of you. Rekindle that hope. Just by being near, we can give hope to another person, sharing stillness and kindness. Just as our chalice often gives light. Next, I have this to share. You may wonder why logs. Well, each month we dedicate our service to a different aspect of anti-racism work. And this is something I actually learned, and I'm embarrassed that I didn't actually think like, wow, this totally skipped my mind. Well, when it comes to stillness, we look to our siblings in the African Methodist Episcopal Church, known as the AIM denomination, who, among others, celebrate Watch Night, known as Freedom's Eve, because on December 31st, 1862, black slaves and free blacks came together in churches and private homes all across the nation, awaiting news of the Emancipation Proclamation, which actually had become law. Lincoln had used the occasion of the Union victory of Antietam to issue a preliminary proclamation which freed all slaves in the rebellious states after January 1st, 1863. Side note, they all were gathered around December 31st, but he actually didn't sign it until January 1st at 2 o'clock. Lots of stillness while waiting. So learning about this tradition of Watch Night, Freedom's Eve, as a wait for freedom, Lens for Stillness helps support our eighth principle, journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in institutions. So, what's one of the ways our faith guides us into becoming a people of stillness? It's to learn about what it means to wait in the stillness for freedom. So here's a log, because what you don't know, in Montgomery, Alabama, 3 years before the Emancipation of Proclamation, a group gave a church, which they put on logs, rolled uphill 3 blocks, and that is where eventually they waited for that news. So, with animals helping and everyone waiting, in Montgomery, Alabama, while the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, it wasn't until 3 years later that actually the law was started to be followed by some. People had to walk around as if it didn't exist. They had to pretend that they were still not free, which, as we know, is still the case for many. So, these logs, that church rolling, the people gathered around, I never really stopped to think about that. Have you? So now is a chance to talk with your families. There's a poem written by Sharon Sutton called the Watch Night Poem. I highly recommend you look it up and use that time with each other to think about what people were doing in that stillness and how children may have felt waiting for that news. So, Solstice Service, we have light, we have holidays, we have all sorts of love, but really we also have tradition. This is my 10th year here, and I think I am pretty certain when I look back on all the paperwork, we've ended all of our solstice services with Deck the Halls with boughs of holly. So please join me in our final hymn, Deck the Halls. Let your light shine. Be a source of strength and courage. Share your wisdom. Radiate love. We look forward to seeing you all for our Christmas Eve service, which is coming up in a few days. Until then, peace out. Signing out.